This video is for people who smoke drugs and for service providers to walk through the basic steps for how to smoke drugs as safely as possible. Smoking drugs can lead to a range of health issues, including cuts, burns, blisters, and sores on the mouth, lips, and gums, bloodborne infections such as hepatitis B and C, and other infections like pneumonia. Makeshift or modified pipes can explode when their temperature changes dramatically, which can cause injury. To reduce the chance of these harms, use harm reduction supplies that are made for smoking and avoid sharing smoking supplies. All of the equipment used to smoke drugs is for your own personal use and should not be shared with others. This is because blood can remain on used equipment and can pass infections when equipment is shared, even if you can't see any blood. There are lots of different factors that influence where, how, and with whom people use drugs. This may affect your ability to follow all the steps outlined in this video all the time. Staying as close to these practices as possible lowers your chance of health issues. It's important to recognize that the illicit drug supply is unpredictable and illicit drugs can be toxic because they are unregulated. If your drugs are from the illicit supply, it's often impossible to know what is in them or how strong they are. All drugs, including stimulants like crystal meth and cocaine, can be contaminated with other substances, including fentanyl. This can lead to overdose, especially if your body isn't used to opioids. There is always a chance of overdose or poisoning, even when safer smoking practices are followed. To plan and prepare for an overdose, try to never use alone and stagger your use with a friend. Having someone around who can help respond to an overdose can increase the chances of surviving. If this is not possible, try to let someone you trust know that you're using and ask them to check on you regularly. Carry naloxone with you and know how to use it. Having a kit available will allow someone to respond quickly if an opioid overdose happens. When smoking, use a small amount first to see how you feel, then increase slowly. Try to avoid using different substances at the same time. Use at a supervised consumption or overdose prevention site that allows smoking if possible. If you can, find a safe place that is well lit, where you can take your time to prepare and smoke your drugs. It's helpful to plan ahead so that you're prepared and have all the supplies you need on hand, no matter how, when, and where you use drugs. Wash your hands with soap and water before handling harm reduction supplies. If soap and water are not available, you can use sanitary wipes, hand sanitizer, or an alcohol swab. Next, clean your preparation surface with soap and water or sanitary wipes. Your next steps will depend on what drug you are smoking and how you plan to smoke it. This video will walk you through some basic steps for smoking crack cocaine using a straight stem, smoking crystal meth with a bowl pipe, and smoking various drugs using foil. Knowing the steps to safer smoking is important for reducing the chance of harms related to smoking. To smoke crack cocaine with a straight stem, you will need a straight stem, a mouthpiece, brass screens, a push stick, and a lighter. Prepare the pipe by inserting brass screens into the stem. Brass screens block hot particles from being inhaled into the mouth and throat. There are many methods of folding screens. This video will show you one approach, but trying different styles of packing screens can help you find the one you prefer. First, remove screens from the package. Using one or several stacked together, fold one side inwards. Then use your thumb to fold the other side so the stack of screens has a cone shape. Next, roll the wide part of the cone into the middle with the folded sides facing inward and press together tightly. Place the stem on a clean surface. Insert the folded screens and push them down with a wooden push stick so they are tightly packed. Make sure to push the screens back about 1 centimeter into the stem to allow room for the crack rock. Brass screens are the safest option to use in a straight stem. Brillo and other types of steel wool are coated in chemicals that will be inhaled into your lungs when heated. They can also shrink and break apart, which can damage the inside of your mouth and throat. If you prefer using steel wool, a safer method is to wrap a brass screen around it and use them together. Attach your mouthpiece to the other end of the straight stem. Mouthpieces reduce the chance of burns, sores in the mouth, and cuts to the lips, and using your own mouthpiece lowers the chance of passing infections. Now you are ready to insert the crack rock into the stem. Place it in the gap between the screens and the end of the stem. To smoke the rock, apply heat to the end of the pipe. Inhale slowly, then exhale immediately. Do not hold the smoke in your lungs. This can burn your lungs and will not give you a better high. The stem will be very hot. Handle it with care. To smoke crystal meth with a bowl pipe, you will need a bowl pipe, a mouthpiece, and a lighter. Attach your mouthpiece to the end of the pipe. Place crystal meth in the bowl pipe. Tap the pipe gently to settle the crystals in the bowl. Hold the pipe halfway down the stem and slowly apply heat to the bowl with a lighter. Avoid touching the flame to the glass. Slowly move the lighter back and forth or roll the pipe to distribute the heat evenly. The drugs will change to liquid, creating a vapor. Inhale the vapor slowly and exhale immediately. Do not hold the vapor in your lungs. This can burn your lungs and will not give you a better high. The pipe will be hot. Handle it with care. Drugs that produce inhalable vapors can also be smoked using foil sheets. This can include heroin, fentanyl, crack cocaine, crystal meth, and some tablets. Crush tablets into a powder beforehand. To smoke drugs with foil, you will need a foil sheet made for smoking. These are thicker and create a more stable surface when heated compared to household foil. They also do not have an oil coating, which means they do not need to be burnt before using. You will also need a straw or foil tube to inhale the vapor. If needed, cut foil to the desired size. Fold your foil to create a crease in the middle and place the drugs along the crease while holding the foil between your thumb and pointer finger. Heat the bottom of the foil with a lighter. Take care not to touch the foil with the flame. It could burn holes in the foil. The drug will start producing vapor. Inhale the vapor slowly using a straw or another piece of foil rolled into a tube. Some drugs turn to liquid before becoming vapor. You may need to tilt the foil and pinch the edges to prevent the liquid from spilling over. When inhaling using a foil tube, drug residue will remain on the inside wall of the tube. You can open the foil and heat it to smoke the residue. Remember that safer smoking equipment is for personal use only. Replace your safer smoking equipment if the equipment has been used by someone else. When glass equipment is scratched, chipped, or cracked. When screens are coming loose or falling apart. Or when the equipment is burnt. When you're done, throw away your supplies in a sharps container. If there isn't a sharps container around, you can use a hard plastic bottle, like a pop bottle or laundry detergent container, and then drop it off at a harm reduction organization. When smoking drugs, try to stay as close to safer practices as possible. Follow the steps in this video, and remember to avoid using alone. Carry naloxone. Wash your hands before handling harm reduction supplies. Use harm reduction supplies that are made for smoking. Use your own mouthpiece and avoid sharing smoking equipment. And use at a supervised consumption or overdose prevention site that allows smoking if possible.